There's an Iranian tradition of bringing goldfish home for Nowruz, Iranian New Year. And on Nowruz's Eve, the exact moment that the previous year ends and the new year begins, the fish jumps out of water and goes back in, symbolizing a new beginning. I believe this happens because fish always seek their optimal environment as they grow, because they're so deeply connected to the ecosystem. And that's what we're going to talk about today, giving ourselves a new beginning by creating an environment where we can be happy and are able to thrive. This process is called Biotope leadership. It's a values-based leadership model that helps us make decisions that align with our purpose and our values. Because we all want to be in an environment that brings out the best in us and make us feel like an empowering leader who brings out the best in others. If anyone doesn't, I apologize for assuming, but for the rest of us, this is an important common ground. And now that I have this newly built rapport with you, I'm about to ruin one of your childhood memories. Raise your hand if you've ever had a pet goldfish. Wow, thank you. Keep that hand up if that fish was in a small bowl or a small aquarium. Thank you. And if you didn't raise your hand, I empathize with your hesitation. Growing up, my first pet was a goldfish in a bowl. The thing is, when we bring fish into our homes, we are bringing a piece of nature that we become responsible for. And while the best environment for fish is its natural environment, the second best is building a biotope, a human-made ecosystem designed with the needs of the fish in mind. Because fish are all different and unique like people. Goldfish, for example, has a higher bioload. This means Goldie needed more oxygen. It also pooped more. And its poop had a lot more ammonia. And yes, I am talking about fish poop now. And you chose to be here. Congratulations. Because the bowl wasn't an ideal environment for Goldie, it experienced ammonia poisoning, which caused its external body growth to be stunted, while the internal organs continue to grow and expand and push against the confines of its body, leading to illness and disease. And if that's not what killed Goldie, it was the slow and painful death from suffocation in an environment that slowly became toxic. Goldie could have grown this big, maybe this big. It could have lived 10 to 15 years instead of the one. But I guess we'll never know. What we do know is that as leaders, we are responsible for the environment we create for ourselves and for those around us. A team of researchers from Harvard Business School and Stanford University found that people working in highly stressful work environment are more likely to die sooner. Forbes found of most people who quit their jobs voluntarily, most of them say it's because they didn't feel appreciated. And you might think I'm talking about toxic workplaces, and I very well may be. Though I want you to consider this. Whether you're in an executive role part of the management team, or a frontline team member. Your environment doesn't have to be objectively toxic. It only has to be the wrong environment for you. Spend enough time in this environment, and you'll know how Goldie felt in that bowl. Maybe you already do. Chronic stress, depression, anxiety. Your hopes, dreams, and desires trying to burst out of you, but being compressed by your environment. You leaving with injuries inflicted on your emotions from an unfulfilling environment that stunts your potential. What would you like to do? Would you like to make changes to your current environment or move to a different environment? There's no wrong answer. Your response depends on how connected you feel to your current environment. And no matter what you choose, how do you know you won't end up back in the same place again? What does your biotope look like? Your natural environment that makes you feel happy and fulfilled. And when I say natural environment, I'm not talking about people walking around an office in their birthday suits. What I'm referring to is feeling like an empowered leader. An empowered leader is an action taker and a problem solver who believes in a vision greater than themselves. An empowered leader is adaptable to change and resilient in the face of adversity. How can we become the empowering leaders who help people feel connected, expand their potential, and find opportunities of innovation in challenges? The truth is that we can't. We can't until we shift our understanding of leadership to transcend our mental and physical constraints, escape our fishbowl. Because people don't operate in a vacuum. We're deeply connected to one another. And the moment we realize this, we start to look at the environment we create as an ecosystem, a system that's built on shared values and vision. And this can't just be a poster on a wall collecting dust or the About Us section on a website that no one goes to. These have to be things that make us jump out of bed every morning with excitement, like goldfish on Nowruz. I was creating a biotope for my fish one day, thinking about all the different elements that would help them live their best life. And the leadership strategist in me had an aha moment. I thought, we have biotopes for fish, but what about biotopes for people? And so the biotope leadership model was created. It's different from other leadership models because it takes leaders back to the basics, their identity, their purpose, their values. Because we all want to change for the better. We want to transform our corporate culture, try the newest trend or the next best thing. But if we don't become clear on our individual or organizational identity first, we are building on a broken foundation. Have you ever wondered how there are these successful companies? They're so offbeat. And everything they do is so counterintuitive and goes against most traditional business advice. And yet, it works for them. Think Google, for example. No matter how you feel about Google as a company, they're an excellent example of one that prioritizes their values and reports net profit growth year after year, reporting $18.9 billion in 2021. You know what's interesting, though? They have a 40% failure rate, yet they continue to win awards for best company cultures, best company happiness, and best company to work for. How does that work? Google has their values built into the DNA of their company. They value innovation, open communication, and end user experience. They don't have an innovation department. Every employee they have is an innovator. They hire for skill and character, not for degrees. And they allocate time and budget for employee creativity and for experimenting with new projects. You can also take a page out of Google's books and apply it in your business or work. And it might work for you, or you might fall flat on your face if those are not the values you share. Remember this. Before you make any significant changes in your life or business, before you try a new trend or jump on the bandwagon for the next big thing, I encourage you to take a step back and become clear on who you are and what matters to you. By creating clarity around your identity, you can create a biotope instead of a fishbowl. Biotope leadership gives us the opportunity to create an environment where people can find opportunities to expand their potential, become unstoppable leaders themselves who lead teams through innovation, disrupt industries, and take businesses and organizations to a new height previously unimaginable. So together, let's shift how we practice leadership and become biotope leaders. Thank you.